Yang berbahagia tuan-tuan, puan-puan hadirin sekalian. Firstly, I would like to say thank you to participants and all those present, especially the speakers, for their willingness to contribute towards this particular seminar organized by the Human Life Advancement Foundation. Now, I have been asked to deliver the keynote address or the opening speech, and the title or the theme of my speech is about inculcating character building in virtual education. Obviously, this is something new in education. It is a kind of innovation. We have been blessed with tremendous advancement in technology. But this technology is so great that the usage of this technology has not been fully exploited. We see, for example, the development of the computer, which we all use today. The computer actually began as a calculator, just to calculate mathematical sums and all that at a higher speed with bigger numbers, because we need to do a lot of calculation when we want to do anything at all. That simple role of the computer has now been increased by people of great intelligence who saw in the computer, in the computer's ability to calculate, to do other things, and they began to develop software. And the software has now enabled us to use the computer as a means of communication, no longer just for calculating, but as a means of communication. And that means of communication, which began probably with the computer languages, which was difficult for us to master, it went on to being simplified by introduction of the mouse. And after the introduction of the mouse, we now have touch screen, and all these things keep on moving and improving and making things easier for us, people like me, for example, to learn how to use the telephone. Because today's telephone is no longer just a means of reaching somebody with the voice, but today's telephone can transmit everything, including pictures, sounds, etc. And it is a fantastic instrument which can transfer information immediately across the world. That is what we see happening, that the simple calculator has now advanced to become a means of transporting knowledge and information across the world, not only in terms of sound, but also in terms of transfer of pictures and moving pictures, etc. So as you can see, if you apply your mind to what you have, it is possible for you to increase the facilities that are available to you. And the computer is not yet fully exploited. It's not yet fully exploited, especially in education, because it is possible now to have one teacher teaching the rest of the world. We can find the best teacher, and he will teach and reach all the students of the world if need be. That is, I think, the direction that we are taking. For education, to get the best teacher in the world who will teach through the computer, through software, so that we can have the benefit of the knowledge and the skills of this teacher. We in Malaysia often complain that we cannot learn English because we don't have any English teachers. We do not have very many English teachers today, and even if we have, maybe they are not the best teachers. There are many good teachers who can teach the language in a very effective way, and we can make them prepare software and programs so that we can follow their teachings, including hearing the pronunciation of words and seeing pictures to illustrate the meanings, all of which can be done by the best teachers in the world, so that even if we live in a small kampung in Malaysia, we can still have the service of the best English language teachers in the world. That is the direction that we should be going, but unfortunately we are not fully utilizing the new technologies that are available to us. We need people with ideas who will come up with new programs and new systems, which had began with Microsoft, and now we have Apple, we have Yahoo, we have Google, and a lot of things. These are ideas by people who understand the power of the computer, the power of actually the microchip. This tiny microchip has the power to hold within it huge amounts of knowledge in the form of just dots and one, just two alphabets, 0 and 1, and we can spell out anything that we want in the world. Well, if you look at the Chinese characters writing, they may have thousands of these characters, but spelling and making known the sound is very difficult unless somebody teaches you. We have the smaller number of alphabets introduced by the other civilization. They now give a sound to each alphabet, and with that sound attached to the alphabet, we can now spell words and know the sound of the words. But with 0 and 1, we can spell everything. We can even describe anything, and we can even transmit pictures with millions of bytes in order to create the picture that we are transmitting. All these have come about because people who study the power of the microchip decide that they can make use of it for certain purpose which will serve humanity. We knew about the introduction of the library. It was the first move to collect knowledge and spread knowledge. We see the building of huge libraries in Cordoba, in Baghdad, by the early Muslims. But the libraries are very big, and accessing the knowledge in the libraries is very tedious, even though they have classified and categorized the words and the meanings of these words. But today that library is put into a tiny microchip in your computer or in your handphone, and you can make access to whole libraries, many libraries, just through your telephone. This is the result of thinking people who see the potential of the microchip and decide to make use of that microchip, not only to calculate, but also to transmit to use it as a means of communication, to store knowledge and data, and then make them available to everyone for hardly any fees at all. That is the advance that we are seeing, but in education, we have not fully used this technology. We have not fully exploited the power of the microchip. Now, what the Human Life Advancement Human Life Advancement Foundation is trying to do is to make use of this new technology to make available knowledge to more people at maybe a fraction of the cost. That is what it is trying to do. Now, as Mr. Junaidi said just now, knowledge education is very important. It is so important that it is the first message received by the Prophet when he was selected to be the Prophet of Islam. The first message was Iqra, read. And when you read, you acquire knowledge. So knowledge and education today is very important, but we need to make full use of the new technologies in order to spread the knowledge that civilized people should have. Now, going beyond that, while admitting that knowledge is important, character is also important. The character of the people is important because knowledge can be abused. Knowledge is like a knife. You can use the knife to carve beautiful objects, or you can use the knife to stab to death another person. It is how you apply the knife that determines whether you get some good out of it or some very bad results. Knowledge is like that because a man who is knowledgeable may abuse that knowledge in order to do harm to other people or even to the whole world. Just imagine Einstein with his knowledge of fission. He laid the basis for the manufacture of the atom bomb, the nuclear bomb, and you know what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That is an abuse of knowledge. You use the knowledge in order to destroy, not to build. With one bomb, we can now destroy a whole city. Indeed, today the capacity for destroying the whole of this world is already available because of that knowledge that was pioneered by Einstein. So you can see that knowledge can be abused. But if you have good character, good values, you will apply the knowledge to doing good things, things that are of service to humanity. We know that in today's world, our civilization is expanding. More and more people are joining the society of people who are knowledgeable and capable of doing a lot of things. But it is important that as we go along, that we build good character. What is the meaning of good character? Good character involves having good values. And people with good values succeed. That is why in all religions we are urged to practice good values. We are urged to be trustworthy, to be able to work hard, to not to do what is wrong, and to do everything that will be of service to yourself and to your family and to mankind. That comes from having good character. And good character is dependent upon values. If the values are right, then you will develop good character. But in today's world, there is a collapse of the family system. In many countries, even in our country, we are finding that the families are broken up, or they have no time to bring up their children. We see both father and mother working with little quality time spent on bringing up their children. Their children are not taught what are good values and what are bad values. Why they should have good values and why they should have why shouldn't have bad values. Today's children, even in Malaysia, learn about the value system from their colleagues. If they are friends and their friends may not have the right values. We have problem, for example, in Malaysia with smart rempits. They are regarded as heroes by some young people, and they learn to absorb the values of smart rempit, which is not something that is good for them, that will help them succeed in life. That is because these are the models that our children now have. Our families have practically broken up because both father and mother would be working, would have little quality time for their children. So if the role of the mother and the father is much less effective today than before, we need to transfer that role of building up the character of our children to the education system. It is in the schools that you should learn what constitute good values and what constitute bad values. What will build good character and what will result in bad character. So the school must take it up from the time, from kindergarten level, because those are the formative years when the mind is still open and can easily be shaped. And then from the kindergarten it goes on to the primary school and to the secondary school. Good character can be sowed, can be implanted in the young mind through the education system, especially if we use the latest technology for spreading good values. The children will be taught what is good and what is bad. They will see pictures and read stories and see films on good character, etc. And they will see models in this teaching material that we can create from our capacity to make use of the modern communication technology. They will have to replace, this technology will have to replace the role of the parents. Today, unfortunately, what we see on the film, on the TV screen and on the big screen, we see a lot of pictures of violence. We see even words which we should not be using being used on the screen. And the young mind is influenced by what they see on the TV and on the cinema screen. But if we replace this with pictures which are equally interesting, but the pictures will be about good things, about good character, about what makes a good hero, not because he kills people, but because he helps people. If we have this, then the character of the children growing up would be better. So I would think that we have now the means to improve the character of the people so that we don't see them fighting and killing each other as we are seeing today.
You may have seen on your telephone or on your computer the picture of the murder, the killing of young people by IS, for example. This is what they see. And it is shocking to find that even Malaysians are joining IS to kill people. You see horrid pictures of a Malaysian holding up the decapitated head of one of the victims of IS. If this is what our children are exposed to, we cannot expect them to have good character. So it is important for us to ensure that our children would witness good things, good character, so that these will shape their character and bring about less violence and more peace in this world. We have this opportunity. I think HLAF is interested in disseminating good character through this new media. We have cooperation with many universities and individuals, and I hope that this emphasis on character building using virtual education is something that we should accept and promote as widely as possible. It is something that we should invest for the future generation, so that when they grow up, they don't become violent, they don't commit crimes and things like that, that they will care more about society than just taking from society and not returning anything back to the society. This is something that we can do now because of technology. We can have virtual education accessible to more people than ever before, and they will benefit from this new technology and new inputs into what would constitute education, including, of course, not just the dissemination of knowledge, but also the dissemination of values which can contribute to good character. We need people with good character, who are honest, who will not steal, who will keep their words, their promises, who will do things properly and not cheat, etc. These are good values. But the parents of children today do not have the time to impart good values to the children. So it is important that education should take over from the parents and do these things much more systematically, using the best teachers in the world and making this new availability of knowledge accessible to as many people in the world as possible. That is why I think the work of HLAF is very important. It is trying to innovate in terms of virtual education so that more people would benefit from the new technology than just through the ordinary schools, where we send our children today to be taught by teachers who are, of course, not the best in the world. They may be average, or they may be even poor teachers, but who will impart only knowledge, but will not teach the kind of values that will build good characters from among the children who will be inheriting this world after us. So I hope that we will hear from the speakers a lot of things that will help us formulate plans in order to benefit from the new technology and the new use, the new emphasis on character building and the dissemination of good values. So I would like to wish everyone a good session here, and I hope that the speakers, and I would like to thank the speakers for their willingness to speak on education, and I hope we will all benefit from this session of the HLAF seminar. I thank you.
Thank you.